So thanks for taking a few minutes to chat. I'd love to hear more about the motivation behind Proxi and sort of what gave you the impetus to put this together.
Yeah, well, Proxi has this really fun inception story. That's this mom saves Halloween story. And it's really, fun for this time of year as well. So about 2 years ago, I noticed in my parents' Facebook group, people were trying to find ways to trick or treat safely in my neighborhood. Because, some people were very cautious because of COVID, and people were making these really fun, creative ways to, distribute candy at a distance. And so I started noticing people sharing addresses of where their candy shoots were. And given my background in geospatial and, human-centered design, I was like, this is kind of dumb. We gotta make this easier. So I did what a lot of people do. I went and set up a Google My Maps and, a sheet, a Google page that went to a Google sheet that went, or form that went to a sheet that went to Google My Maps. And the idea went viral here in Seattle. 2,300 homes ended up adding themselves to the map, and 500,000, there were 500,000 views on the map. So it went really viral here. People were using it. But the problem was that it took basically, it turned into a full-time job really quickly. Those who have used Google My Maps know that it's really hard to collaborate on a map, to crowdsource information onto a map, really hard to verify addresses, all kinds of things. And so after the really successful and fun Halloween, people started reaching out and asking, how they could make easy to make maps and things like that. And I couldn't in my right mind direct them back to the experience that I had just had with Google My Maps. And that's when I called Chelsey, who's this business builder who's worked on software projects before. And she looked at the market, and we saw all these trends that were showing that, hey, making map easier and making it more collaborative could be really good right now. And so that was kind of the inspiration. And we started building an MVP and spent about 9 months refining it before we actually jumped in, head first. So
what are some of the ways that you're seeing people use it? What are some of the top use cases so far?
Yeah, so we're finding that there's a couple of top use cases. One is media companies are using it. So people who typically would present listicles of, top 10 things to do this weekend, or great hikes for kids, or, these things that are normally presented as listicles online. We're seeing more and more media companies and journalists starting to put that information on Proxi maps. And what that allows them to do is embedded on their article. It allows them to share that, unique Proxi map link on social. It just makes the map more easy to take around, and then, to get insights on what people are clicking on. Are they booking a table? It provides that, ability to share anywhere, and then insights into how people are using the map. So that's a big one as far as people who already shared listicles. We're also seeing a lot of movement in the hospitality space, the local hospitality space. So that might need destination marketing orgs who already create lots of lists of what to do in the area. And then also hotels who are, making front desk guides to, perhaps their general map of the area, but also unique special maps that are easy to maintain, like running routes or best places to get oysters. Now with Proxi, they can, as soon as one of those restaurants goes out of business or a new one pops up, it's easy to maintain the map and share it with their guests. And then obviously there's also lots of fun consumer use cases like wedding maps and bachelorette parties and trips and all kinds of things like that we allow people to use Proxi for.
And how do you think it fits into the broader landscape of these kind of map making tools? So journalists will be familiar with tools like Flourish and Data Wrapper. And obviously you mentioned Google My Maps. How do you see it fitting into the landscape?
Yeah, I think it's in between some of these really technical tools, like, the ones that are perhaps on the New York Times, or the ones that are built using APIs, and the really simple Google My Maps that, leaves more to be desired around branding and insights. Proxi sits right in the middle. We think of ourselves as the Canva of maps. It's like a little bit more than, the Microsoft Word poster, builder, and a little bit less than Illustrator or Photoshop. It's kind of that nice medium. Chelsey, do you have anything to add for that?
No, that's exactly it. We aim to be the friendliest map creator technology out there, and the branding and the insights, and it's all icing on the cake after you can create this really easy to use and maintain map.
And what would you say are the top features that are distinct? People are familiar with a simple making a map where you drop spots on a map and then you share it. What are 3 or 4 of the top features that might be distinct from your perspective that Proxi has that maybe other tools don't have or don't work as well on other tools?
So 3 come to mind to me right now that we have today, and then one that we're building towards, and Chelsey, feel free to add on. So the first is totally rooted in the experience that I had in trick-or-treating, which is collaborating and crowdsourcing information. We are the easiest place online to crowdsource information. You can build a map on Proxi in seconds. You can get a unique collaborative link that you can share on a Reddit page or in your family group chat, and everyone can collaboratively add to the map at one time. And of course, we have the option to approve points and things like that, but we're the only place online that does that. The second is sharing anywhere. So some other map platforms that you have to share within their apps or things like that. For us, we simply have a link. You can text it, you can embed it, you can put it on TikTok, whatever you want. It can go anywhere. And then the third is the insights. And I've already mentioned this. You can see in a non-creepy aggregated way, what people are clicking on. Are they converting? Are they getting directions to a place that's on your map? And so that helps with, businesses who are using maps, understanding, all of this content that they're making. They often don't get insights into how it's actually being used. And so we provide that. And then those are the 3 we offer today. And then what we're moving towards is actually becoming a place where people can bookmark, and you can bookmark today, but bookmark and pin and save these maps for later. So imagine you see an influencer or you see a local media guide to Austin, Texas, and you're going to Austin next weekend. You can put that in your virtual backpack. And then when you go to Austin, you then can open your Proxi map instead of maybe Yelp or Google Maps. That's going to have that curated guide for, whatever niche thing you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Anything else, Chelsey, that comes
I think I would add on the level of customization for maps. So not only can you customize your maps with colors, logo, make it very visually appealing to your audience or friend group, but you can also customize the categories in which you bucket points into, and then you can also tag points with additional points of interest, like, if a place is woman-owned or kid-friendly, something like this. So it just makes it very simple to search for points and find exactly what you want.
Yeah.
A lot of readers and users of these kinds of products are often curious about the business model. They want to know whether they're going to be sold to, or they're themselves, their own data will be sold, or sort of how the business makes money. So could you walk us through sort of how that works from your perspective?
Yeah, so today we charge teams, so big teams who are using maps and maintaining them collaboratively. So you might imagine like a big media company or a hotel might pay to be able to work as a team on all kinds of different maps and have their branding go there. But our big vision is around affiliate and advertising, to be honest. We intend to, our goal with that, we have a really unique perspective on that. We want our maps to turn into somewhat of an influencer type play, if you will. There will be advertising or opportunities for people who own maps. So connecting local businesses to local map makers, and not necessarily throwing points onto a map, kind of like Google or Yelp does, but giving those creators the opportunity to reap rewards from their the maps that they're making and the way that they're sharing information with the public. And that's why we're really interested in conversion. So are people booking tables on OpenTable? Are they ordering food from this restaurant? We're opening up opportunities for conversion inside of Proxi. So then, that opens up revenue opportunities and then also gives, advertising value to those creators.
Nice. Great. Well, I think it's a great product so far from what I've seen. As I said, been playing around with it. I'm curious if you have any additional sort of plans you can share in terms of new features or things that you plan on adding to expand on what you have.
Yeah, okay, so one just came to mind, and I think this is a differentiator for us that I don't know if you've explored yet, but we just launched a Google Chrome plugin. And that Google Chrome plugin is really cool because it allows you to pin points as you're doing research online. So imagine you are planning for a trip. If you have the Proxi Google Chrome plugin on and you're looking at different blogs, I'm going to Mexico City soon, and blogs about what to do there, where to eat, you can just highlight things, right click and add to your map right in your browser. And that is super cool. Like that is, I mean, it's like this, you know, ability to pin things onto this, you know, map as you're going. And then when you go to that city or when you publish your map, you know, everything is there and ready for, you know, yourself or your friends or your users. So that's something we're really excited about. And that leads to, you know, the bigger vision that we have is becoming kind of a Pinterest of places. You know, as people build more guides on Proxi, we're going to invite people to make their maps public and make them searchable on Proxi, so that, you know, if you do land in Seattle and you are looking for a record store, you know, perhaps someone who is an expert in that in the Seattle area might have a map that you can use and find which one that's near you and get directions there and go there. And so it's all about making things, you know, easier to find and, you know, quicker to get to these like niche things that you care about. Chelsey, what else do you want to add?
No, I think that's exactly it. I would have chosen the same thing. The Chrome plugin is really powerful and fun to use, useful for all sorts of people.
And for folks in other countries, do you envision having, I mean, the Google Maps, I guess, give you access to add a map no matter where you are in the world, I would assume. Do you envision having different languages available for people in other places?
Definitely. Yeah, that's part of our
We
future.
will do that. And another thing that Proxi already does today, you know, you can map any place in the world, whether it has an address or it's with a long location. You can just double click on the map and add a point anywhere. So might be useful if you're adding like a parking lot without an address or a restroom or a trailhead or something like this.
And we have lots of international users already, because we are fairly light on the amount of language that is required to, you know, figure out how to use Proxi, and our user experience is really nice. People from all over have started using Proxi, and some of our biggest maps are from international users. But of course, yes, making it available in other languages will definitely be part of our future.
Interesting. I noticed there's a date and time kind of functionality, presumably for events. Have you seen anyone using that to sort of mark historical things or to tell a story of, you know, how something developed or any other kind of storytelling uses?
Chelsey, I feel like you should answer this.
Yeah, so we actually had yes, exactly. So we have someone who is mapping out their village's like timeline, actually in Australia, and they are going back and marking different locations that are of historical importance. And they're doing it through the lens of an Aboriginal, I guess an Aboriginal lens. So they're trying to highlight historical events through that perspective. So really exciting. We've also had some folks do book reports, if that makes sense, students that highlight like someone's life in the past. And event we'll have some more features that address the historical events coming up, but we don't want to give those away quite yet. But yes, that is a really exciting part of what Proxi can do.
Yeah, and family history could be a really fun one too.
Yes, don't give it away. So good. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, the Night Lab has a tool called Storymapper, which has that sort of idea of putting historical things onto a map, and most of the kind of consumer map tools aren't oriented around that way, but it seems like you could potentially use them for that kind of storytelling purpose. Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to add that people might not realize about Proxi or that they should know as they take their first look?
I feel like we covered a lot of it. It's really easy to get started.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would love people to, I think we learn, first of all, we're a very user-centric company. You know, my background's in human-centered design, and Chelsey and I spend a lot of time talking to users and listening to them and building the things that they ask us to build. And so, you know, I would love it for people to get on there and just go in. It's free. You can play with it. Tell us how you're using it, so maybe we can make it easier for you. And we're just like, we're so excited to keep building this and seeing what it enables for the future.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Melinda and Chelsey for sharing. I'm really excited to keep learning more about it.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks.